The United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We'll jump over health and wellness statewide because Mr. Weatherall's not here. Today, as some of you know, we had the Apples event at Scott School, and Robert's here to talk about it. And our apple.
And our apple, right?
An amazing
And the apple. Yeah, we had our first lunchroom learning event, which is a collaboration between food service provider Aramark and Kiffin from Farm Fresh, where we go into school's lunch, right? About the last 10 minutes of lunch, we do a great presentation, talk about local farming. Today we talked about Steer Orchard Farms, which is in Greenville, Rhode Island. And, we made apple slices, 2 different types of apples, apple chips. One of Christine, if you don't know Christine Barnes, the assistant director here in Warwick, she dresses up as an apple, and it's the highlight for all the kids. And
She's an awesome apple.
She's an awesome apple. She's really good at it. Yeah, she is.
She really is.
She puts some makeup on, and freckles. Yeah, it's great. She really gets into it. And it's a fun event for us, right? Jen was lucky enough to come today, gets everyone out of the office a little bit to get in front of the kiddos and just see some fun. They ask great questions. They have a good time. And they're just really fun events, you know, just to get out there and see what we do and talk about local sources. Great to have Farm Fresh and Kiffin there to really help support these events. And really for us to get these foods, which if Farm Fresh if we didn't have Farm Fresh and Market Mobile, who we ordered through, we wouldn't be able to source these items, which is really an amazing thing. From a restaurant guy, not having the ability to order these items is a big problem out there, just because it's hard to get them. So they're fun events. We have our big one coming up in the 14th, which is Apple Crunch. That's actually a promoted event by Farm Fresh in the state. And it's called Apple Crunch, and they promote local sourcing, local farming in all Rhode Island schools. We've done it now the last 2-3 years here, 2 years at different elementaries. We've done it at Libet. We did it last year with Mr. McCombs, who was just here. We did a big event, Mr. McCombs at Hoxie, and this year we're going to do it at Norwood. And the Norwood one should be a big event through Ride and Kiffin and his team. Word got out to the governor. One school year during the Apple Crunch, and this year it looks like he's going to come to Norwood and come to our events. You know, don't put the cart before the horse, because he's very busy, right? But having
15th to the 17th.
The 17th.
Yeah.
At what time is that one? Is that?
Norwood lunch
I think
starts
they
at,
start at 11:40 is the first lunch, so if you got there at 11:30.
yeah.
Now, who's making the apple crunch?
So
Well,
the crunch is actually the sound of students biting into the apple. So
Right.
the idea is it's a
Oh, yeah.
nationwide event.
Oh, you're not
You want-
doing apple crumb.
No, I mean,
was
maybe
thinking
we'll
apple
do
crumb.
apple,
That's what I'm
maybe
saying.
we'll,
that idea.
Yeah, I
we
think
can
we're gonna have
also,
a
I can also do
That's
that.
what was on
Can that be the
mind.
third way that this
so
happens?
it's invite the apple.
With vanilla ice cream, that's it.
Passing apples to everyone.
Well, the
All of the
apple
students.
chips are very good too.
Yeah.
So we got that
Everyone
dessert.
will have-
Robert
everyone
made
has-
amazing.
Yeah, so
Adults.
what we made for the last event, we took 2 apples, sliced them up. So thank you for everyone that helped slice apples, because you can't pre-slice them because they brown. So we were able to slice apples a la minute in the minute. And then I also made apple chips at Vets, house-made apple chips, and we brought them out. The kiddos got to taste that. I'm not anti making an apple crisp. I just don't know if it falls into school lunch nutrition programming.
No, we made apple cider
Especially
before.
if the USDA.
Yes,
Because I think we might have some.
from scratch, and making it with homemade apples.
Yeah.
We have never made it from homemade apple. We've only made it from canned.
But I don't have to make it for the ones.
Because you can't expect them to make 2,000
I'll help you.
servings
I'll help you
of
make it.
apple
I-
But just the one school, I'll come in, I'll do all that.
Let me
We could do that another day, but the point of this day
No,
is for
okay.
everyone to crunch into an
I got
apple
you.
at the same time.
This whole time I've been thinking it was apple crisp.
So,
Yeah.
question, so you
guys do your part and you do your part in that type of stuff, right? And I think of things as, I think this is wonderful, kids are eating it nicely at school. I think about home, right? And your job is to keep it in the school, which is wonderful. I look at it as a home thing, where if you're doing this big event at Norwood, they are now 60% under the poverty line. And I think that's our highest percentage in the district. What can we do as a team to send these kids home with some resources to get access to some of those healthy foods? Right? They have it at school, but how can they afford it and get it outside of school, right? So I'm looking at it as that piece of what can we bring in as a health and wellness team to piggyback off of the great work that they're doing there with this program. How can we get some stuff to go home with the kids so that they can give it to their parents and maybe they can access some of this, or where to go to access some of these healthy foods? Do they know about the services that are available throughout the city to go get some of this stuff? Because
Now,
it is a Title I school.
You folks are involved in the food bank, right?
Correct.
So could we do some information on the food bank,
We could,
some recipes or something?
we could.
And
We could do different things as far as different affordable places to go to
Yeah.
of who does what types of deals around what type of days, like like a market basket
Yeah.
or places like that,
I just,
you can get.
I think this is great, but I really want to stay focused on what we're really going after here is local sourced farm food, right? So these events, Apple Crunch, what we did today, and what we do promoting in school. So today at Scott, we also had locally sourced tomatoes from Ward's Farm. We had bell peppers from Ward's Farm. We had
Carrot coins.
carrot coins from Shartner Farms. We also had hydroponic greens from Gotham Greens. So what we're doing in the schools is trying to not only source these ingredients, but really then promote it, right? So we have a small Facebook page, Warwick Schools Food Service Facebook page as a promotional point. We also have printed material. We try to send printed material out. But with the Apple Crunch being such a grand event, it looks like it's getting even grander. I would really hope we stay focused on what we're trying to do here, which is promote farm to school material.
But it's
So-
like separate, like,
Yes.
how can the schools get that out, but it's not really tied to this event?
Yes, so I really just,
Well, today we had some stuff available for folks if they wanted to take it.
just some,
We had the pamphlets.
yeah,
you know,
printed
the
material.
farm, you know,
yeah.
Yeah,
things
and
like
just
that.
printed
Take home.
material
Yeah.
on local farm.
Yeah, our
Really
local
are.
farms,
Then
West
they
Bay
have-
does a farm has a farm that they provide their food bank with.
Mhm.
We can provide Morris Farm and Confreda Farm and those local Warwick farms. You could also, we can do a quick research and find out where local farmers markets are and tell the parents, hey, you can
We
go
have
here.
They
We have
them.
So-
Parents reaching for
Right.
right now. So all this, printed
Yeah.
materials are already there at our table today and it's
Yeah.
already being presented.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
see, I don't know this, so I just
So we make it
asked.
available.
And I'll bring some information on this. Farm Fresh runs these farmers markets that accept EBT, and they also
Yeah.
cover all of the
Mhm.
unsold food from these markets and donate it to local food banks. So I can bring some
Mhm.
That
materials
way we
on.
could
on
close
that.
the loop. for
Yeah,
some of
because
your
it will be,
programs.
because it is still Farm Fresh.
Yeah.
It's just a separate program.
Yeah,
EBT and
yeah.
WIC.
Yeah,
They also do WIC. so-
that's all. I'm just
Mhm.
thinking.
Yeah, with payments.
Because I like the farm food, but at the same time, sometimes it gets expensive too, so.
So like to that point though, and because it sounds like they already have amazing resources that are provided that promote farm fresh and some local farms. One simple thing, so URI Snap Ed, we have recipes that are, aimed at families, and we have one that's all ready to go. It's printed out PDF, front, back, English, Spanish, and it's just an easy recipe. And it has like the time and cost per recipe that we could have at the table.
What do you have? Like, do you have
They have a bunch. but-
yeah,
Yeah.
what's your
But
concern?
my question is, these are little kids in elementary. You
Yeah.
have these resources. They're not gonna come by the table and take them.
They do sometimes, but I doubt it makes
But
it. To
not
I don't think
many.
it makes it to
So
their
how-
parents also.
Yeah,
I think if you wanted those things to be sent home, You have to provide them to the main office and then they would go to each teacher and
Yeah.
put in the backpacks. But at this event, like the kids aren't gonna take those resources, you know what I mean? So there's another approach, I guess we have to take if we want those things to reach the families. Like open houses, you can hand it out, something like that. But this event, like, it's not gonna reach the parents because it's just the kid.
Yeah, for sure.
But maybe that is something we could do. is-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you could definitely provide material for
For
the,
that day, like just if we get like a blast out that day through Norwood or something like that, just to even promote it the day before. I think, you know,
We
there
could
are.
maybe do something with what, Aspen?
Yeah, I was thinking that, most schools, when they do the event, they'll follow up either the night of or the night before, like you said, and just say, we just did an event or we're going to do an event. And below, click on this link for some more resources.
Yeah, that's good.
And then-
And we could do that.
What is that, what is the platform that?
Also, it's however, so the principals of the school, they utilize, it used to be Blackboard years ago, now it's ThrowShare, it's the
Just
same,
get an
it's the
email,
same.
like, I just
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the same
it's the-
platform, they would put out like an announcement, like we put out no school tomorrow because of snow, it's the same, each school
Okay.
can put out their own, and they do like once a week, schools will send out information.
Newsletters and stuff
So
like
could
that.
we add,
Do this.
You can ask the principal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
To send
principal,
out an email just to the parents at that school.
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah,
like
Is-
what Cedar Hill should do is, Scott, sorry, not Cedar Hill, what Scott should do is, Danny Smith should send out a message tonight if he didn't already and say, hey, talk to your kids. We had a great event today. This is
Right.
what they did. And
Yeah.
here's a click for resources. And that could tuck in a lot of what we're talking
and
about.
that resources can include recipes
Yeah, whatever
or
you want.
information,
Yeah.
or the farm information recipes
Yeah.
or something like
Just
that.
like what you
Website,
do
great.
clearly
Yeah.
addresses the cafeteria environment, started at the youth, it had like a
Yes.
specific goal, and that this could be something that, because you're already doing so much around this, if it could be an add-on, that can just, again, something that's sent home.
Yeah.
And that's kind of to Jen's point,
Yeah.
which it goes to the parents, it's directed towards the parents.
correct.
There's resources here, recipes.
Because if only like 10 kids go home and tell their parents.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
As a
We
parent,
also
I'm
know-
a fifth and a seventh grader, I don't know anything.
So we've lost.
I gotta-
Like
I
you
gotta
did
ask
this
my wife.
amazing thing at school,
Right,
like,
right.
what did you do at
What'd you
school
do?
today?
Right, exactly. Nothing.
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 Yeah.
We didn't do nothing.
Just had an apple dancing
Right,
around the
right, right.
cafeteria and got apple
Nothing.
chips and NBD.
And is that something that can build something out and then send it?
Yeah, the
Or is that-
principal can, we would just talk to the principals, but absolutely you could work in collaboration with them. They would draft a message and tuck in your links or whatever, right? into their
You can send it right to the principal and she or he or she can send that
Yeah,
right
send it
out.
right out.
Did you find it?
We could touch base.
Mhm.
I think,
I
you
can
okay with
also
that?
Yeah,
send
I
things
think that's
from
great.
food service if
If
that helps
Kiffin,
too.
if Kiffin and I maybe circle back and we could touch base about building something and just a little promo.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
a
think
picture
that
of a
would be-
dancing apple.
Definitely include that. I think it would be
Yeah.
super beneficial because
Yeah.
we really want this information to reach the
Yeah.
families and it's.
Yeah.
And like, I have to say, you gotta get a picture of the kiddos with the
Mm-hmm.
apple. And like, a parent sees
Makes
that,
sense.
like, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Some of the research.
I mean, we had some of those kids were like, can I have more apples? Can I have more chips?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, send it
fantastic.
to- you have my email, send it to me and I can send it up to
That's
them.
fine. Whoever needs it.
Yeah.
Even these good news stories too, our website, we have the ability to post news stories, is just the regular feed on the
Yeah.
feed. So like after an event like this, or certainly after you do the Norwood one, that could go out on a feed. And then when we put it as a news feed on our website, it links right to our Facebook page and our Instagram page and all of our behind the scenes social medias.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
there should be today, not if nobody did it, but there should be today.
I took a ton of pictures.
Facebook page that just shows the community all, because I think if we're
Yeah, yeah.
using the opportunity for the win with the community and the
Yes,
parents and
100%.
stuff, and I think that's where all this could help with.
And if I send, who can I send that information to? To you?
Yeah, you can send it, actually, Kayla, you can help out with that too, right? So Kayla.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I can send mass things out from the food service department.
Yep.
So if there's anything like that, if
And
be
she's a-
like, this
she's a
is what
super
we
user.
did in our schools.
And that's also with social media too, because that's, oh, no, you're talking about the website, not a social media platform.
They're
You're
tied
talking about-
together.
They're tied together.
Okay,
You can, you super user control share, right?
Yeah, so
But if you
so
send
when
it,
I
you
send
do it
out
all.
an email, it'll,
Rob, we do it all
well,
the
I've
time.
only done
Yeah.
emails, so
Whatever
I
we
haven't
partner
done
with, we
media.
take a
Like,
bunch of
yeah,
pictures and we send them
sure.
out.
Yeah,
We used to do
yeah.
cameras Kayla now. We send them over, they'll post it right up and tag whoever in it and it'll go out. And you can do updates and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
okay. I didn't know that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
That's good
thank you.
information. All right, so I'll do a little type up from, today, some pictures.
Send it to us and we'll get it up.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And that'll be on.
If there's pictures of the kids, I just need.
No, yeah,
School.
I don't do any pictures of the kids.
Perfect,
That was my first.
Those are easier to
I've
get out
instructed.
then. And less
And
fillings.
that'll go out on the, your social media platforms and the
Webpage news story, yeah.
webpage news story, Warwick Public Schools webpage news story.
Yep.
Look at us, who's better than us? Look at us, learning every day, I love it, learning every day.
That's good PR.
Is it okay if we send a
As
picture of
much
an
good as
apple
we
out?
can get out
Yes.
there.
We have to send the picture. We have the best apple
I
in the
just gotta make sure I
world.
gotta sign off from the apple. I don't wanna, I don't wanna take it, promote an
We have the
apple that
best
doesn't wanna be
apple in the
promoted.
world.
Yeah, it's a promoted apple. Great, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Good stuff.
It's great.
Okay,
Better take notes.
moving along. The school breakfast is coming up on October 23rd. And we have a table of 10 and 10 people to fill it, and we're very excited. So, that's coming along soon. It starts at 7 a.m., goes to 10. There'll be all kinds of things going on. If you haven't been there, the food is amazing. And, it's at the Crown Plaza. Any questions on that? If anybody isn't on the table for 10, but wants to come, privately from their own pocket or from their agency, tickets are on sale to the public now, I believe. I think they're 17 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
They're not super expensive for what you get. Okay, so number 3, farm and sea to school report. Sarah, you can start.
Sarah, you go.
Sarah and Rob.
Okay, so we just met, as a group. Welcome to new folks here that we didn't get to chat with last time. But it's safe to say over the summer, our farm school team, I serve as the coach. I work at URI, made some great headway with their planning around farm to school goals. We are now meeting, as a team monthly, with the goal of bringing community partners and sort of making small steps towards our action plan and some of the goals we've set. Today, we met with Joan Sarah from the URI Master Gardener Program, and our team has submitted an application for a school garden mentor. And so it's really exciting that with the team, we will start mapping out some of the school garden needs and continuing to grow these efforts with Hoxie and use these lessons learned to extend it to other schools as well. We just talked about the Lunch from Learning, which Robert and Kiffin have been spearheading it's been over a year now, right?
Yeah, close to a year.
Yeah. And so really exciting growth around that. And so, yeah, nothing, I think, other major updates to share. We're just kind of chugging along, working towards our action plan. And again, thinking around these 3 C's of classroom, cafeteria, and community, and how we can move these efforts along in the coming months.
Robert?
Oh, me too.
I don't want to leave you out.
Yeah, I think just to add to what Sarah said, as a lot of hurdles is going to be funding. We just got a little shortcut to a grant for $2,500 from Caitlin from Farm Fresh. But if anyone knows any other avenues that we could go down to find either donations or funding, or so Joan brought up even someone throwing away an old water pail or shovel or something like that. Anything that we can find to help promote this program. And again, the gardening aspect is just one small aspect of what we're trying to do here, but we're all about it, right? Because it's going to be a smallly funded program, but the more support we can get from the local community, the better off we're going to be.
Karen, do you want that to shut off?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's okay. All right.
Yep.
I don't know how to do that.
We're recording now anyway on this.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, it always comes down to funding, I suppose, so.
And volunteers, I think.
And volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Mr. McCoon seemed to have it's a strong school. I wish Nicole had jumped on today, probably, get picking for kiddos and everything, but, they're a strong school when it comes to support. You can see that during the open houses and just some of their events and that sort of stuff, so. PTO is important, I think, so maybe, yeah.
And I think more generally, just, Mr. McCombs has been so supportive, and as you could tell, like, he had such strong connections with the community already. So when he says, like, we'll get families to run this garden over the
Yeah.
summer, like, I have no doubt that you will have families to run this over the summer. But I think really what's important to this is, you know, creating a strong networking group that can sustain these efforts, because we see that there's turnover, among teachers, among families. And so just thinking about, you know, outside of Hoxie, growing these efforts, we're always welcoming new members to our group, and the more the merrier. And so just kind of planting the seed for that, for those that are interested, because we're starting with Hoxie, but the hope is to continue it to other Warwick schools as well.
Okay, anything else on that? All right, moving along. Members, participants needed for the Health and Wellness Committee. We have a school nurse teacher, but we can always use more. We'd like staff rep from the entire district, or as much as possible, phys ed and health teachers, interested parents, high school students. If anybody's aware, I think I'm gonna call Pam Bernardi, because she got some kids interested and involved in the Hoxie program.
They have some community service programs there that
Yeah,
kids might want to get involved in.
right, so
It'd be a good opportunity for them to get.
is that something that you could help us with,
I can
Toby?
ask her, yeah.
And then local partners like Parks and Rec, community mental health, community healthcare.
What do you think about the Boys and Girls Club? Possibly reaching out to them, seeing if they want to be involved. Or I was thinking too, of parents, of different ethnic backgrounds.
Mhm.
Because everybody's
Everybody's
different.
welcome,
You know, everybody's culture is different. If we're trying to cater to the entire district, you're gonna have to cater to everybody. Why not try and reach out to some of those folks as well?
Well, everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
And, there's a gentleman who's parent, and his wife, his partner was pregnant. And, so he was gonna come, but I think that maybe the baby finally landed. So that may be why he hasn't come, but he's really cool. He's grown a banana plant. It's phenomenal, and he said it will bloom. It's over in Greenwood.
Yeah.
It's just, I met him, he's so cool.
That is cool. If you get the banana, that would be really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
To grow the plant in one place.
Local bananas, here we
But he
go.
said,
Oh my God.
he said
I've
like
been
next
asking
year, I
many
think it
times.
will harvest, and it'll make it through the winter, he said.
Wow.
They're not as tropical as people think.
Greenwood bananas, huh?
Yeah. So anybody that you can think of, anybody who might be interested, who loves gardening and things like that, please ask them. And I put on a brainstorming session because, I just wanted to open it up to everything for anybody to talk about something that, an idea that they have, or anything that might help.
The activity, we talked last month about the hours of activity. That was all taken care of in the elementary
yeah.
and the middle. Did that carry over to the high school?
No, because we haven't gotten the new schools yet.
Okay.
So that will be looked at, I think, when we open the new
Okay.
schools. Which will be the next contract for the teachers.
Now, we've also done a lot of focus on the farm at Hoxie. Is there any other things as a group, as a whole, that we want to focus on, change, dive into policy? What avenue, what track do we stay on as we meet as a group?
Well, for health and wellness, of course, is varied. So one of the things that I think about sitting here today, it may be too late to do much, but maybe not, maybe we could send something out to parents and make, them aware that October is Depression Awareness Month. And,
We actually went to a training today. We are bringing peer-to-peer to Tollgate. It's also going to Pilgrim.
Mhm.
It's funded by Chris Collins. It's a man who lost a son to suicide.
Yep.
And he is paired with the University of Michigan Depression Center. So it's a student-led initiative and we're just supervising. So the students will be, with our guidance, educating the entire student population about depression, anxiety, trying to reduce the stigma of mental health, and then also facilitating how do you go to the right resources in school and outside of school. So we just started this, but that will be something that is important for the entire year, including mental health awareness.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know.
Let me know.
Yep.
That's great. Anyone else?
Can I just ask about that training a little bit?
Yes,
When you say peer-to-peer, I assume it's student to student.
yes.
So students from Colgate High School.
Mhm. Yeah, the theory behind it is that students are more apt to go to their friends
Sure.
before they go to adults. They're not counseling other kids, they're leading them to the right professionals. So
Okay.
the students that are trained are learning how to speak about this, what to say if someone, if you notice it. So first it's be aware of it, notice it. What do you say? Like, hey, you look like you're upset today, and then validate and send them to the right person. And we're just there to kind of guide that process.
Sure.
So today they were trained on all those philosophies and core
Wow.
principles, and then it's more about, right now it's more about awareness.
Mm.
The next step will be
What
awareness.
about,
Okay, sorry.
no, I just follow. Are those resources that they're asked to provide, or is it you? Is it a nurse?
It'll
Is
be,
it-
yeah, it'll be
Like,
me,
you know,
it'll
what's
be
the next-
student assistants,
Sure.
the nurse,
sure.
but then it's also outside services.
Yeah.
There are some kids in school who will not talk to us. They just don't feel comfortable. So then how do we get them comfortable with community resources?
Because some kids feel comfortable going to you.
Right,
But others don't, but they feel comfortable
Going
going
to
to a
someone
student
else.
assistance
Yeah.
counselor, but then they might not feel comfortable there, then where do they go,
Right.
that type of stuff, so it's a revolving type thing. I was gonna say, Karen,
Yeah, that's really
a
great.
couple years back, you might remember this, we created, with the Prevention Coalition, those, "You're Not Alone"
Yep.
signs. And we hung them up in all the bathrooms behind the stalls. And it's a QR code and the kids could scan it and it takes them directly to mental health resources. We could possibly do something like that. That's super easy to update and recreate. Can put the school's logo on it. We can put, the public school, the Warwick School Department logo on it, and then the Prevention Coalition logo goes on it as well. And you can hang those up, they're laminated, and they scan the QR code, and you can update, like,
who's on that?
you could give us there's like, the Prevention Coalition runs like this, the updating of what's on it.
Okay.
And then if there's something you want added, you can put on there. If there's something we want added, you can put on it. And then kids can just directly scan that QR code and take them right to resources. We piloted it and did it at Pilgrim a couple years back, the first school.
Mhm.
And we did it, 5 cities did it. And Warwick had 1,526 views.
Wow.
It was double to what the next closest area was. The next closest was like 7 change.
Wow.
So kids were scanning it, you know what I'm saying? Even
Yes.
if they were just scanning it to
To
see
see
what
what
the
it
hell it
was,
is, it still brings them to, that stuff.
Yeah.
Because again, you're absolutely right. Kids are more apt to talk to their friends, and if their friends have the resources available to say to them, hey, you can go here, here, and here. It's the same thing why we talked about with the RISAS survey. If your kids know about this stuff, they might not be having an issue, but they could save somebody else's life, And if we want to do that, I can get that done very, very
Yeah.
easy. So,
Is that something, Bill, that we,
Yeah, let me run it by Lynn.
okay,
Mrs. McCaffrey, if you want me to send you what it looks like,
Yeah.
I can,
Send it, yeah.
just so you have something to
Yeah.
show.
anything else?
Somebody approached me on an idea of those kids that want to play sports but might necessarily not make a team or might not necessarily have the confidence to go out for a team, of introducing like club sports of like, so local places will provide free gear and free materials to a club. And it could be, either, student run or a volunteer run or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a coach, but it's something for after school activity to A, keep kids off the street and out of trouble, and B, to get kids more active. It might be a thing we can think about as far as trying to get club athletics at the high, just try it at the high school level or even the junior high level. But if you do it at the junior high level, you're gonna have to have some type of supervision. But at the high school level might be more easier for it'd be a kid to a youth to youth type of thing. But they do different things like soccer and football, like touch football, and I've seen kids do frisbee club and all sorts of stuff in different areas. So it had been brought to my attention because places like Second Time Around Sports, Elmwood Sports, Dick's, places like that will donate to try and support a local club. And then I always go back to food. You guys are the pros at that. And again, I give you guys so much credit for the things that you're doing to keep kids healthy and educated on things. Food insecurity is a very real thing in the city. Especially our Title I schools. If we could try to get behind, so Cameron Kadick and I created food pantries inside the Title I schools. We could try and do something to get behind some type of food, larger system in place. But they go home discreetly with like backpacks, or they go in like the black bags and stuff like that. So nobody knows that they're taking food home, but they usually do, especially on the weekend. Because some kids come to school and they're only getting, the only meal they get for that day is what you guys provide to them, and that's a shame. So I don't know if we can, again, it's just brainstorming on just things that I see and hear, and maybe a direction we could go to get behind it, supporting that a little more, because the food bank, I went and met with the food bank. I took my CEO with me as well from CCAP, because they were just giving junk to the food pantry, and they ended up changing their tone a little bit and giving them a little bit more food to provide for that, for those areas.
So we started share tables at all the elementary schools, and they're not really being utilized.
Okay, what is a share
So a
table?
share table is when someone takes items for lunch, and they have to take a fruit or vegetable. So if there's things that they don't want, they can put it in the share table. It's like a bin, and other kids can come up and take something.
Where is it?
It's
in the
right
lunch?
next to the cashier.
Okay,
And it just hasn't, so we've sent out a couple emails at the start of the year to principals that it's happening. We handle the bins and the ice, and then the cashier keeps an eye on the share bin. It just hasn't been communicated to the students that this bin is even there.
No, and you don't
Yeah.
notice it, it's not
So
monitored.
we are gonna be doing something on Facebook to promote it, but if there's, if we can make a message through that, the
Aspen,
Aspen, yes,
Mhm.
telling families that we now have share bins at all the elementaries. If there's something they don't want, they can put it in the share bin and other kids can come up and take it. Because we just witnessed that at Scott today, nobody was using it.
Was that the black?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know what that
So I
was.
think it would be even helpful if we can ask the principals at the elementaries to announce it at lunchtime for each lunch, so that the kids know it's there. And they understand what it's there for, and they can either donate, it has to be lunch food they donate into that bin. But anybody can come up and take it. And it might be things like, they might get a yogurt in their fun lunch and they don't like it. They might have to take a fruit or vegetable, but they don't like it. They can put it right in that bin and someone else can come up and take it. But right now, they're not being utilized. They're just sitting there. There's really almost no items in it and kids aren't coming up to look into it. So-
Now, the knowledge of that is huge, getting that out. is
So,
big.
yeah, I just don't think anybody knows, because we did tell principals and secretaries twice, but I don't think it was ever told to the kids.
And just
And the
kind of,
kids are the important ones.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, there was no principal or anything. And
So if we can somehow make a parent message, and then if we can somehow have them announce it at lunchtime to each lunch.
Mhm.
Yep.
Maybe a couple days, just
Yeah.
to remind them, then I think people would know it's there.
even if we
Just
could
trying to
put a
think.
few things in there for
Yeah.
like there was, and I just,
And the other thing too is, at the end of lunch, we gave people the option that, we would either discard what's in the bin, or someone in the school, like the nurse or whoever, could come and take the food, and they could send it home. I don't know what they want to do with it. We can't do that ourselves,
But they.
but whatever's in that bin at the end of lunch, someone can come and
Okay,
take the
let
food.
that be known too, because what I.
And the nurse
think of-
usually has a refrigerator.
because I just, yeah,
It's a ton
Yeah.
of food in there,
Yeah.
because
but-
it's one thing.
There was some yogurts and stuff today.
Yeah, so I just think we need to get the word out. People were on
Also,
Facebook,
yeah.
Facebook, you see it all the time, like, oh, why aren't we doing chairmans? Why aren't we doing chairmans?
Well, yeah.
Now we're doing chairmans,
But
you
it should
know?
be
it's-
marked too. We need to make some.
We do
sort
have
of-
how do we-
signs.
yeah, so I just want to talk a little bit about some of our hurdles as Aramark, the lunch, there were the food,
I made special
service we
beautiful
did, right?
signs.
I believe.
and kind of where some of our restrictions are, right? So the state controls what we're allowed to do, time and temperature controls, restraints, and we have strict standards and logs and all this stuff. We really have to keep very tidy when the state comes to visits our schools, which they come at least twice a year. So with the shared bin, some of the hurdles where we as the school lunch food provider is in those parameters. So we put a bus stop out, we can put ice, all right? We will do that. That's why it's near the cashier where that's now a city employee. We're not really allowed to monitor that bus stop. You know, we monitor it, we do, right? But we're not really allowed to, we can't take the food back, right? We can't reutilize the food, so then we gotta discard it, right? Because we're not in control of that food. Once it goes past the cashier, it is no longer under our control. Now it's part of the school's control, right? So it's not like we can really now police that or, it has to really come from the schools themselves. And that's just really kind of what we do as a,
So when there's, what are any restrictions with the Department of Health? You know, they come through and they inspect facilities.
yeah.
Do we have any
So-
restrictions with that or?
So, yeah, like I sent out the detailed list to, the schools, and on the sign, it also says what you can put in the bin
Okay.
and what you can't. So things like has to be prepackaged.
Sure.
It has to be something in some kind of container, or it can be a fruit with a hard peel on it. So it could be an apple or an orange or a banana. But everything else that we serve anyways is like all the fruits and vegetables we pre-portion and they're in containers, so. But there are like restrictions on what you can put in that bin. It can't be any home food either. It can only be the food from school.
Yes.
But yeah, it's right on the, I made signs for
Okay.
every school. Where, did Scott, do you know where their sign was?
No.
No, wasn't there.
They usually walk through it twice a year now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so as long as everything,
Randomly, they could
if
come
it's
in
under
anytime.
ice,
Yeah. They've already started going through last week.
and it's the
Okay.
correct food that's allowed in the bin, then it's fine. But we have to be careful what's in there, obviously.
Okay, sure.
I
So
love.
yeah, we can send more signs out, but we already sent some out. Some of them where that one went.
But as a partner, we're really looking for the school themselves to kind of run with that
Take
baton.
on.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
This-
Yeah.
This is where Rhode Island Recycling, Schools Recycling Club will really be helpful to these efforts, because the share bins is one of their strategies that they use in
Oh, good.
addition to focusing on the sorting the sorting and composting as well. And with their model, they aim to make it like school focused. So for example, they have their cafeteria rangers, which are the students in grade 5 that help with the sorting and could play a role, I think, in even advocating and promoting that peer support piece.
yeah.
So just thinking down the line, it's amazing that you're doing this, but thinking of like that it is kind of out of your hands. Like, could there be a way through Rhode Island Schools Recycling Club to build in that school and community support to help sustain it and advertise it and help with the norms
Yeah, I
around?
just don't think the
taking
kids
this
even
food.
know what's happening.
Yeah,
I don't think it
It
was
didn't seem
ever,
like they did.
yeah,
Promoting
so
Yeah,
if we
educate them
can
and-
send some kind of
Yeah.
email.
As far as
to the
getting that
principals.
communication out, I'll touch base with
Okay.
Patty to
Yeah.
make sure
I
it's
just have
getting to
one-
the elementary principals.
And you have my original email
Yep,
that I sent?
yeah,
so you
I can
order
just
that.
resend that.
I had a couple of schools also ask me whether or not, it's children who get
No, it's,
Like,
With
right.
anybody.
So, but I think that'd be
Anybody.
something important to send out too, that anyone can get it.
And
Some of the kids
destigmatize
really
it
just
too,
thought it
because I
was-
think that's a big piece.
I
Those
just
kids
have
that get
one
to-
concern. How do we try to make it as discreet as possible? Because we know that kids can be nasty. And what's gonna stop a kid from bullying another kid saying you've got food out of the pick'em bin?
But if we make it a positive, and, you know, if you're still hungry, come get a yogurt, come get an apple.
So I
It's
think,
just a snack.
It's not, it's just a snack kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not sending them.
and I just want to touch on what Sarah talked about, you know, this is our first forte into this.
Yeah.
But part of that, last year, I think was part of that presentation, Jim came in and talked about the Rhode Island Recycling Program and how they've already set it up in schools and how they get, the Rangers and how it becomes a positive, right?
Yeah.
I was actually at that presentation and it's very impressive in what they've already been doing. So as we've started this, you know, as Aramark has started this program, how now we continue it and make it stronger, I think it's something we're gonna talk about at our next kind of.
Yeah, because I love the idea. Yeah, it's wonderful.
They introduce, I mean, for the food safety people,
Yeah.
like things that may seem a little scary, like they will come in and like, they're like, we will bring apple slicers. And it's like, we will show this how to do slices so that it makes it more appealing to the kiddos, that they can bring it out in the afternoon slump and bring it to the classroom on a tray and the kiddos, they'll eat them miraculously. We all know, like a
Yes.
slicer is full, right? So things like that down the line, but I just have to like, huge kudos for getting this started. The next pieces are like, just
You
the
know,
awareness. and
Yeah,
marketing.
and then they can take fruit, like say there's yogurt, and like if the kids, most of the little kids have snacks. So we have apples or bananas or whatever, and you know, you slice them up and you have some yogurt that they can dip the fruit in.
Mhm. And again, that's making this part of the schools program,
Yeah.
right? That kind of, you know, we have one employee at the school, at each school, they're feeding, you know, a lot of kids at some schools, right? And it just kind of helps
Already
the
strong.
schools themselves now take that program and run with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this
It's a lot of
Exactly.
work
Rhode
for
Island
one
Recycling
person.
program.
You're already doing so much. It's like, it needs to be a school community-wide effort.
And then getting, that's kind of what I think Jen was talking about, was getting that message out to the schools themselves and
But
how to
then
go about it.
also letting the nurse or an admin know at the end of the lunch period, go get the food that's in there. Because if there are kids that didn't or may need it, can go home with it too. Which
Yeah, I
is
mean,
big.
I said that in the email to
Yeah.
the principals and the secretaries, that school nurses are welcome to come get the food at the end of the lunch, but I don't think any of them.
Mhm.
But it's an option.
Yes, it is.
And a good one.
The elementary director will jump all over that.
Yeah.
She's,
Yeah, Patty's
She's excellent.
all over that.
should be all over that.
Man, I know I was talking about a bunch of different things. I got nothing.
Well, any public comment or any comments or anything? Ideas, thoughts, poetry. Well, then there being nothing further, the next meeting is on Tuesday, October 29th, 2024 at 3 p.m. Here. And the Thanksgiving meeting is on Tuesday, the 26th at 3 p.m. 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Very nice.
And there being no further business before this committee, call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to.
Second.
All in favor?
Yo.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Sometimes I say things, all right, I don't mean to spend.
Oh, no.